Well, 14th Street was a muddy quagmire of mud, and there were cotton fields or whatever they raised from 14th Street all the way south to Tucson, I think. But, and where we are right now, a little bit to the west of here was some teepees. It looked like Indian teepees. It was a tourist court. And then beyond that was a little grocery store and some little tourist cabins. Beyond that, down to McAllister. And Goodwin Stadium was on the corner of College and was on the corner of McAllister. It didn't go all the way up to College, but it was there. The second set of tennis courts that they built for us was because they started Gamage project quite early, and they had to dig up those tennis courts, so they built tennis courts on the east side of Goodwin Stadium for the next set that I used for classes and for competition. And Bobby Winkles had a baseball, his baseball field was right back of the tennis courts, and they used to yell, when they hit a fly ball over there, they yell, "Heads up" on the tennis court. And incidentally, when he was here being honored down at the baseball stadium, he remembered that. And when I saw him, we laughed over the number of times we had to grab our head because the guys were knocking balls over on the tennis court. But I think there were about 4,500 students when I came.
Did you settle here in Tempe or Phoenix? Or?
Well, I thought for a while I wasn't going to settle here because I looked around looking for a place to stay, and every time they'd open the door to show me the house, a great burst of hot air would come out and you would sort of, you know, shrink. So I finally told Nina Murphy, I said, I can't find a place to live. I'm going to have to go back to Texas. So she talked to Kemper Goodwin, and he had a house down on 5th Street, on 6th Street, to be exact. And Mary Bunty, the Grady Gamage's secretary, lived upstairs, and there was 2 apartments downstairs. And nobody was in one of them, so she talked him into letting us move in there. Well, I remember when Grady Gamage stood up on the Union porch and pronounced us a university. That was a gala affair. Everybody cheered and were glad to get out of being Arizona State College, which it was when I first came here. And then we won 3 national tennis titles while I was here. 71 and 72, we won back-to-back nationals with the same people. And then we won again in 74. And of course, then because I was pretty well known in the tennis circles, we had a couple of 3 national tournaments held here on campus after they built Whiteman Tennis Center. Most of that took place. As far as the university is concerned, generally speaking, Nina Murphy was quite a person, and working for her was a real good thing for me.
Tell me a little bit about her. What was she like?
As I said in the beginning, she okayed women's competition, and I used to, when we go away and win trophies, I used to put them on her desk, and she took great pride in those things. But she was very a modest person, actually, for a person. She did one famous thing, which probably is not a famous item to many people, but the infield fly rule in softball, and I think in baseball, was one of her contributions to competitive sports, because there was no such rule until she did whatever she had to do to get them to put in to make it an instrumental thing in softball and in baseball. At our programs here, and what they knew was that we gave scholarships, they thought. And as I said before, we gave activity scholarships, which were not athletic scholarships. But it did give us an opportunity to get students that some other schools didn't have, because they had no recompense for women athletes to come to a school.
So what kind of a scholarship was it?
Tuition and fees only. Didn't have to do with board and room and all the stuff that athletes get, that the men athletes got. And I remember we won national titles in golf and in tennis and in swimming. And when I was chairman, I remember writing a note to the president, I won't tell you who it was, saying, you know, reminding him that we had all these national titles that year. And he wrote back, "I know you are justly proud." It was kind of, how nice. And that's all he said.
So not much recognition.
No, he was one that didn't care one whit about it.
And you don't want to name him?
No.
Why not?
Well, I think he is.
Part of the
I think he's collected his just reward, so I won't go any further.
It's part of the historical record. I suppose we could look it up, but
Yeah. Yeah. Well, it wouldn't be nice of me to criticize the president of ASU.
Well, you're just saying that he didn't give you the support that you would have.
Well, he didn't. He wasn't thrilled by what we were doing.
I think anything that brought good recognition to ASU
Yeah,
would be appreciated.
yeah, right.
Especially if it didn't cost
Yeah.
them very much.
As far as, you know, national things, I've been on all kinds of committees in the girls and women's sports division over the years, as a lot of PE people have, because that's who we are. And everybody knew what we were doing here, and that I was outspoken where girls and women's activities were concerned. I felt like that they should have equal rights with the guys, and I made no bones about it.